Hi, my name is Kevin McFall, and I'm one of the product managers for Cognos Analytics. Today, we wanted to take a little bit of time and show you how Cognos Analytics and Watson Analytics can complement each other to help you get better views into your data and ultimately make better decisions. Now, we're going to start today in Cognos Analytics, and we wanted to showcase a few different ways that users can self-serve as a part of the offering. So the first one that we see here is really very simple, very straightforward. All I can do as a user is simply change these predefined filters and see the visualizations update as we go. Now that may be good enough for certain users and for certain KPIs, but what we really want to do is provide users with that next level of capability in terms of being able to explore their data. And so with this, let's go ahead and actually take a look at a report. In this case, we're seeing a few different visualizations on the screen, and I'm going to go ahead and start to do some grouping to help bring this list into a little bit more legible, a little bit easier to understand style. And in this case, I'm also just going to flip my years around so that I can see from oldest to newest and see how things are progressing. So on a quick scan, camping equipment seems to be in relatively good shape, but when I look over here, I can see that outdoor protection is really not doing great when it comes to growth. We're actually seeing some negative growth over the past couple of years. So let's go ahead and actually focus in on just the outdoor protection part of our business. And so just like that, I've made that selection and I can see laser focus just on outdoor protection. And now this is interesting. I can see that revenue has been trending down, and I could go ahead and save this and make it available to me so I don't have to do those steps every time I want to get a view of this data. But before I do that, let's actually go ahead and augment this. So because of the user I am and the capabilities that have been given to me, I can actually go ahead and augment this with a little bit more information. So we can see that revenue is declining, but let's maybe drag in revenue or margin here beside revenue to be able to understand, are we still making and maintaining our margins? And so we can see here that, yeah, in fact, it's been pretty steady, in some cases even increasing a little bit as we look at the margin. And so that's good to know as part of the overall situation. But let's go ahead and save this because we're going to want to keep track of outdoor protection over the next little bit. So I've gone ahead and saved that as my own version of this report into an area that only I have access to, and I haven't impacted the initial underlying report. The other thing that I can do is, since I do want to keep track of this on a regular basis, is I can come in here and I can subscribe to this. So perhaps every Friday afternoon, I want this to be delivered to me via email, and I want to attach the report. And so just like that, I've now gone ahead and created a subscription, which is going to deliver this report into my email inbox every Friday afternoon. And so this is great, and we've seen a little bit of a historical look at how things have been going. But let's go ahead and just flip over into Watson Analytics. Now, with Watson Analytics, one of the things I've pre-done here is I've imported some promotional data from Cognos Analytics. So that same underlying data source that we were looking at that had our revenue, that had our gross margin, it also had some promotion data. So let's take a look at the promotion data to try and understand what other areas of the business are doing in terms of promotions that maybe we can leverage to help increase those sales in the outdoor protection part of our business. So just by choosing that data source, what I'm presented with are a number of different starting points here based on what Watson Analytics sees as part of my data. But what we're interested in is really what can we do to drive the quantity sold? So let's literally ask that question. What drives quantity? And so once I type that in again, Watson Analytics is running this through its various algorithms and it's coming back with a few different starting points. But what we're really interested in, as I said, is what is driving that quantity and what can we learn from this in order to be able to start to do a little bit more in different areas. And so we can see here, there's some relationship between promotion name, but this is an interesting one for us. Let's go and take a little bit further look at promotion as it pertains to region. And so just with that click, I'm able to come in here. Watson Analytics is highlighting a specific cell here with some automatic insights. But let's take a look at this a little bit more holistically. And so we can see here that there was one promotion, this water bag promotion, that did really well across all of our geographies. So definitely something that we want to look into. What was this particular promotion and what did it do so well. And the other thing that we can see here is that Asia Pacific has done really well in terms of promotion. So again, maybe there's something coming out of our Asia Pacific team that we can leverage. The other thing that we see interesting here is this around month. So let's go ahead and again drill into month and see what's going on with months. So again, we can see here some automatic insights. That water bag promotion in February seems to be very, very popular, very positive. But now when I look at the grid here, we can see that August, back to school time, not much going on. Same thing around December, a few promotions. So maybe these are things that we need to start to turn around, do some back to school promotions, do some Christmas promotions, or in the since we're an outdoor company, let's go ahead and maybe January for the back to fitness regimen that a lot of people take on post New Year's. So that's some great information. The last thing that I'll point out just before we head back into Cognos Analytics is along the right-hand side here, we have this whole panel called Discoveries. And so these are automatically generated based on what I'm looking at. And as you go to different areas, these will update to show you different insights that may be of interest to you based on exactly what it is you're looking at. So these are things that are around the fringe that maybe will help you think in different and more interesting ways. So let's flip back into Cognos Analytics here, and let's go ahead and start to do a little bit of modeling. Now, we were looking at promotions, we were looking at our revenue, but what we just got today from one of our colleagues was some survey data. So actually going out there and taking a look at how our products are doing. And so this is in a system that we just get these Excel files generated from. And let's go ahead and actually join that up with that same underlying data source that we've been using all along. So with this, let's go ahead and simply bring these two over. And what we can see here is that these are not joined together right now. And so with that, I can actually go ahead and come here and create a relationship. And so with this, on the left-hand side, let's go ahead and since we're looking at this from a sales perspective, we're going to go right into that table and we're looking at it from a products perspective. And so we're just going to do a quick search for key here. So we want the product key. And then from our other side here, again, we've got our product key. And look at that. These look very much the same in the right ballpark. So let's go ahead and match these up and bring back the data to actually take a look at and make sure that things look right as we're creating this join. And so everything seems to look good. So let's go ahead and save this and start to build out our new module based on that. All right, now that we've got our module, let's go ahead and create a story to help us effectively communicate everything that we've learned here today. Now, the first thing you'll notice when we open this up is that the pin panel is open by default. Now, the goal of pins is to allow users to go throughout the system, and as they see visualizations that are interesting or relevant to what they're doing, they can pin them and then be able to reuse them at a later date as they create their own dashboard or story. So today we're looking at product survey results. And you'll see here as I adjust the size of my box, the size of the text is going to update to fit that space available. Let's go ahead and grab our data, and we're going to start by taking a look at how we performed around the world. So we're looking at this in the context of our promotions, but does that align with what we're seeing in terms of the product topic score? Are people rating our products highly in those geographies? And we can see that in Asia Pacific, much like our promotions, they're doing very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at maybe a little bit more in depth of each individual product. And so with this, let's look at it over the course of time. So if I look at it over years and we look at it just to bucket it together by products, we can see very easily that the Seeker 35 has been gradually increasing in terms of its scores. But if I want to make this very easy to see, let's just go ahead and drag in that measure into our color slot. And we can see that, again, very easy to visualize and see exactly what's going on. So let's go ahead and just resize this a little bit to fit into our window here. And what we were looking at earlier was really around the product lines. We're interested in specifically the outdoor protection. So if I click on outdoor protection, what I can have is these two widgets talk to one another and filter down to show me just what's important based on what I'm interested in. And we can see here that all of our products in the outdoor protection space have seen a decrease in the scores. So does this mean that there was potentially product quality issues or people are choosing not to use these products? So again, something that we should definitely look into in order to be able to determine how we can increase revenue in this particular space. So the last thing we'll do here as part of our story is look specifically at who are the best performers when it comes to these scores. So with this, I can see that I've got a large number of products in market, but let's go ahead and simply click on my axis and we're going to filter this down to just the top 10 performers. So in just a few clicks, I can see exactly what my top 10 performers are. Now this reminds me of earlier today, I was going through and doing an analysis around our bottom 10 performers based on revenue. And so let's pull that in from our pin panel. So we can see here this filter shows revenue, bottom 10. And what's interesting is that there are some overlaps between these two offerings, that some of the ones which are worst performing in terms of revenue are getting very high scores from those people who do purchase them. So this is something where potentially those users who are scoring, we can convert them into evangelists. So to end out our story here, let's just leave with a few thoughts and comments in terms of actions. So we are going to start by taking a look at our geographies. We're going to evaluate outdoor protection. And we're going to create evangelists. And so just like that, I can go ahead and start from a high level and actually play through my scenes in order to be able to communicate effectively while still maintaining that interactivity with the data, so that as people ask questions as I'm talking through my presentation, we can actually have those discussions in real time. I'm not forced to go away after meetings and come back with follow-up comments. And so with that, I'll leave us here today. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch, and we'll see you again soon.